I want to see our athletes be the best version of themselves in the most intense moments. And to do that, you have to be adaptable, confident, grounded. Like most NCAA programs, we were hitting our routines last year. Did they all show up at the same time, the same place, in the most important moments?
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another amazing episode of Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan. I am your host, Bridget Sloan, and this is a podcast where you are going to be hearing from athletes to coaches to fellow ESPN analysts and really anybody who wants to come on this platform and share their story. That story could be success, failures, and everything in between. And today's guest, he is a fellow 2008 Olympian. He was the head coach at Illinois for the men's program. And he is now one of the assistant coaches at the University of Alabama. Please give it up for Mr. Justin Spring. Well, Justin Spring, thank you so much for finally coming on the podcast. Welcome to Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan, where you get to hang out and talk to me.
I just noticed that's the title of your podcast. That's fantastic. Flipping out. I am flipping out, man.
Wow, Justin, a very loyal podcast listener.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. So excited to be here. You just invited me like 3 days ago. Like, I don't know. Everyone has a podcast. Literally everyone.
Okay. First of all, you're not wrong. No. Thank you. I was about to say, not all of them have me as a host.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
duh.
Exactly. Obviously, there's only one with me as a host, which means there's only one amazing podcast out there. That's a lie. There's a lot of amazing ones. But you know what? We're putting mine at the top tier. We're top tier over here with Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan.
I buy it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, since you're a longtime listener, I'm sure you know how this is going to go. It's basically just us having good old conversation. But I will say, this is what I always do on my podcast when I interview someone, always the drive that I do like throughout the day while, me working my job. When I'm in the car, I always think of like maybe questions. But for this specific interview, I was like, man, when did I first meet Justin Spring?
That's a great question.
I didn't have an answer.
I don't know either.
I mean,
was it on
no. Here's the thing. If you recall, I was the weird girl. Remember? I was very young. I was very, very young. At the Olympics. I just turned 16.
You all were young?
I mean, yes, but I was thinking, I was like, man, when did I meet Justin Spring? Like, when did and I really didn't have an answer.
Being really young and really down to party. And I was like, no, that's
not true.
Yes, it is. We were old men and we were like, absolutely not. That's a true story. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. First of all,
always down to hang out and have fun.
Oh, for sure. Maybe we should clarify. Partying for me was like going out and having like a Dr. Pepper.
Right. But as like 24-year-old men at the time, they were
you guys were old.
We were like, no, you cannot hang out with us. Like, get out of here. And you're like,
girl,
you're like, you can't sit with us.
That's exactly what it was. Like, we just wanted to hang out because we thought you guys were so cool. Because you guys are really cool.
You guys were great. You just weren't even 20 yet, let alone 21. And we were like, you guys can't be here. Yeah.
Justin, I wasn't even 18 yet. So let's just.
Yeah, all the above. Yeah, it was very, you're super sweet, but get out of here.
I mean, I will say I'm a little biased. I think we have the best Olympic team, which we've talked about this. Like, I feel like as a collective whole, like we've basically claimed that the 2008 Olympic team, I mean, you guys won a bronze medal. We won a silver medal. Basically, we still hang out. We have our text thread, which is
all the best medals.
all the best ones, all the good ones. But everything, I feel like people, maybe they don't know just how close our whole Olympic team is, because the older we've gotten, the closer we've gotten, which makes me really happy.
I think we just shed the petty stuff of like the drama that does happen with an Olympic push, right? And now we can look back and remember our experience and our journey as something truly special and unique. And we were close. We did hang out. We did appreciate each other's company. You were 16, but when we were going the few tour stops you hung out on, like, we weren't like, get away from us, little girl. We were just like, no, like, that's Bridget. She's cool. And like, we got to know each other genuinely. And I think that is, from what I hear, that's somewhat unique.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, I think our last social gathering what was that? Was that over the summer?
Yeah. I mean, we literally rented a back room at a restaurant, all had dinner together. How cool is that?
That was one of the best. That weekend will forever be one of my favorites because it was electric. That weekend was so fun.
Sean's Mego Prego and just the whole vibe was amazing. All the dudes were there without all their kids and still were throwing down wine and enjoying a night out on the town. And yeah, what a dynamic.
I know. Gosh. Yeah, that's basically, so for those that didn't know, Justin Spring was a part of the 2008 Olympic team where he won a bronze medal. And I cheered my head off for you guys. And that was a huge moment. But okay, we're going to get into this interview because I looked you up on Google. You know, I thought I knew all these things about you. And then I was like, I should probably fact check myself. And
I've also told probably a ton of BS lies throughout our experience, just for funsies. Okay. So you don't believe, you gotta be careful.
That's okay. Yeah. That's all right. You know, be careful out there. That's basically what Justin just said. But you coached 12 seasons at Illinois on the men's side,
as a head coach.
Whoa. Yeah.
And technically it was it's 14, but I was an associate head coach. With no one above me. They just made the women's head coach, Bob Starkell at the time, the director of gymnastics, but he just ran the women's team. So they did that so they could pay me less, which I get the administrative bureaucaucy and all that. But yes, I met a collegiate men's program for 14 years. Yes.
Wow. And that was right after. So I don't know how you did that because after college, I needed a break from gymnastics. Well, where it seems like you just kind of whoop.
Coaching and doing gymnastics, as you know, are very different. So
correct.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, it was the next great challenge in my life. It gave me a little bit of excitement, nervousness that I thrived, that I loved as a part of competing. But at the same time, it got me the next great challenge in my life that I needed to figure out and overcome. After 9 surgeries and 2 literally immediately after 2008, I have 2 ankle surgeries to put my ankle back together from competing in 2008. That made tour fun, by the way. And so after all that, that problem solving process was done, it was time to figure out how to coach a great team and figure out team dynamics and figure out what type of leader and coach I want to be. And and that was a little bit of building the plane as you fly it, and as fun as that was, I inherited a great team. I was just on it and recruited great kids. And so was excited to be a part of my program, but that in itself was also half the struggle, right? I literally remember looking my captains in the eyes multiple times and being like, you can't do that anymore. And they're like, we don't do that. I was like, yes, you do. I started it. You can't do that anymore. I know you do it. I was the first one to start that garbage. You can't do that anymore. So it was very weird to have to step into those spaces and separate myself completely, but at the same time, shut things down and redevelop, many parts of the program that just had to come out of the 80s and 90s, if you will, and into the 2000s, as all of college athletics has done. And so that was tough. It was tough, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, did you always know you wanted to get into coaching? No. Was that always, wow.
No, college coaching and coaching in general was a means to an end. Although if you look back and look at my 3rd grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? Teacher was always there. And so college coaching, that's all we are, is ultimately teachers. We just get to design our own lesson plan. There's some roundhouse and back handsprings along the way, but essentially you are teachers of life, which I think is maybe one of the most fun and exciting courses to teach, is how do you become great at anything? And we're doing that with gymnastics, specifically vault, floor, and beam and bars now. And back then it was a couple different events. But it was always, how do you develop well-rounded human beings that can take on the onslaught that life in college throws at you, from figuring out who you are as an individual, because that was my issue. The boy gymnast that had been made fun of in his upbringing, and redefining what it meant to be the man, in your own brain. And so your ego and your foundation of what being cool is, So I was somewhat of a partier in college and in high school. And a lot of that was to kind of outdo this perception of being this persnickety uptight gymnast that wears tights and presents, right? And that was just my struggle with my identity at the time, and eventually learned to just let it go, and become more invested in my gymnastics career. I didn't have to be the man at the party. I decided that being the man looked something very different. It looked like kicking ass in school and getting it done in the gym and actually being good at the sport I was very, very talented at. But that took me a year or so to really develop the maturity to even start looking and understanding those lessons. So.
Wow. Justin, you're so wise. That was just
I've lived a few more years than you. That's all it is. I don't know.
Well, and I was also thinking today, I was like, wow, Justin Spring has lived, like, you've worn many hats. Like, you've lived many different lives.
Sure.
Which is cool. I mean, I think that's cool. I don't really consider myself.
What did you read on Google? Because I don't even know.
No. It was more, I'm like, okay, so he was like, you were an Olympian. You went to NCAA, did NCAA gymnastics, which for men's gymnastics, it's still so
pretty
crazy
normal.
That Olympics is like after, which for us, well, I guess now it's becoming more normal. We are making it more normal with women's gymnastics. Yes. Love to see that.
The big coin flip for you guys, because,
oh yeah,
you actually make money. So for us, it was never a big deal. There was never any money to really be made. So, I got to just go to school and take this scholarship because that's all I'm going to get out of this whole thing. So.
Fair enough. But no, I mean, you were an Olympian. You are an Olympian, not were. You always will be. You are an Olympian. Me too. You went to NCAA. You coached men's gymnastics for a very long time. Did you know that you hold some school records at Illinois?
Yeah, so I'm told.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty legit. You've got floor vault, P-bars, and high bar. That's pretty.
Did you know I was the youngest head coach to win a national title in NCAA D1 up until literally this last summer, where in the field hockey, I think she was.
UNC.
Yes, she's like 24. Yes. I'm like, good Lord. She's like 23. So I did it in 12. So I was that 28?
Yeah. Were you 28?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not good at math,
28.
but I mean, that's still incredible. That is a very cool achievement to have happened at 28. Yeah. But I mean, you coached men's for a really long time. We're so happy to see you on the women's side now.
I'm happy to be here, guys.
What made you gals, ladies,
women? They're young
people.
Women. I know my casual words that flow out of my mouth. It's hard. I know people on the internet hate when you call them girls. I'm aware.
As someone who was in it, I never cared. That was never even remotely on my mind. So, I mean, it was
actually one of the first questions.
You're doing a great job.
I just needed to know because I didn't want to come in. Everything was all new, and I was like, "All right, ladies, are we ladies or are we like, hey girls, how's it going?" And everyone was like, "Whatever." You can call us guys, like, "Hey guys," and I was like, "All right." I'm like, "Okay."
I would say, I'm sure all of them are like, "It's cool, whatever, we'll roll with it."
But I don't know. I wanted to tread lightly. My first. Well, I will always tread lightly in this position, but as I'm still learning to work with exclusively women. Mm-hmm. That's how crazy. I left a men's program with 18 on my roster, men, two men's assistant coaches, a male trainer. My only woman in my life was my sport administrator was a woman, and my wife. And then now I am the only male presence in a staff and team of like 25 women. So it's very different. It's very different here.
That's amazing. But ultimately, what made you want to make the switch? Because you don't see that. I feel you might be one of, and I don't know, maybe I need to fact check myself, but in my eyes, you're one of the first, I'm just going to say, you're one of the first head coach, like you were head coach of a men's program for a long time. And then you switched. And then you switched over to women's. I don't know if I've ever heard of someone doing that. Maybe there is. Apologies if you're one of them. But I mean, that's
a lot of assistants.
Oh, okay.
But maybe not a head coach. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'm sure the internet will let us know.
Yes, they will. Someone
But ultimately,
already knows that for sure.
I'm sure. But ultimately, what made you decide to do that? Because that's quite the jump.
Yeah, and it was from leaving my alma mater. I mean, I'd literally been at Illinois
Mm-hmm.
for 20 years. For me, it was a combination of a lot of things, but in the end, it was I have 3 kids, stability in my, for my family. I think during COVID, when we lost 2 programs in the Big Ten, and then eventually William and Mary, they came back though, but we're already 12 strong, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm essentially like a CD sale. I basically work at Sam Goody, selling CDs. Do you even know what Sam Goody is, Bridget? Yeah, you're too young.
I have no idea. No idea.
Anyone else my age thinks that's a hilarious reference, but there's still like maybe a record salesman. There's a niche following that appreciates but it's basically it's not mainstream anymore. It's dying, right? So, and after battling through some program drop cut, conversations and seeing multiple programs get cut in COVID, I started having somewhat of an existential crisis of I'm going to be 40 years old, having only been a men's gymnastics coach, and men's gymnastics collegiate coaching is going to cease to exist as a profession entirely at some point soon. Industry seems to be stable for now, and that's awesome. And I love following my Illini squad, and I love that. But for me, that was really scary to have 3 kids, and I've only done one thing my entire life, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And so I had not been actively looking, but always kind of keeping my eyes open and seeking out things that I'm like, maybe I'd be good at. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. And women's gymnastics was always something that I was interested in. Clearly, there's a lot of things kind of transition from one side to the other, specifically floor and vault. But I thought I was gonna have to kind of work my way up through like a Big Ten program or a lower level program. I didn't think I'd just get plopped in the SEC and just be a part of one of the most storied, greatest historic programs, in the country, and the most incredible conference in women's gymnastics. And so that was a mind blower. And so when that happened, 1, I was interested in that, but 2, I'd never really worked for anyone my entire life. I was an assistant coach for 2 years under Yoshi, and then I was a head coach. I was my own boss. I got to develop my program. I got to do the team culture work that I wanted to do. And if I didn't want to practice the same, we're not practice the same. We're going to focus on this instead or whatever. Right. I got to steer my own ship. And who you work with, I know, is a huge determining factor of your happiness level. Right. And so when Ashley Johnston called me, that was the other kind of mixed thing that had to be there. She's amazing. I can only say that more so now that I've worked with her for 2 years. I couldn't be happier. I feel like I get to be the best version of myself. We build things together, and we're continuing to build things together. So who I was going to work for worked, and the transition just made sense. And so I left. I left sobbing like a bitch, just to be perfectly.
Okay.
I cried my eyes out.
Real men cry. Real men cry.
I cried hard. Like I could barely get words out when I walked in the locker room. It was also so nostalgic. I'd walked into that locker room literally since my first day as a freshman gymnast. I walked into the back door of Kenny Gym, never more excited in my life to go be at my first collegiate practice. And so in my heart of hearts, I knew that this was going to be the last time I ever walk in the back door of Kenny Gym, to walk right in that locker room as a member of this program. And the gravity of it was so intense. I literally spent 20 years doing that.
Wow.
20 years. I parked my bike, my car, my scooter, my motorcycle, whatever, in the back of that damn parking lot, walked in that same door, right into that same locker room, and started practice for 20 years. As a 36-year-old, that's a lot of time of your life to do that, So that was tough. That was really tough. And I feel like I made promises to any coach that makes a transition gets the guilt, like I looked at my freshman who I'd known for the summer semester, 2 months. And I was like, I know I recruited you and make big promises and we're going to do great things together, but I'm actually leaving. I love you guys. Bye. Eat me up. Cause you make promises. You make a lot of promises in the recruiting trail. So it was real. It was really hard, but I'm in a great place.
You are at a great place and you are doing incredible things. I mean, the Alabama program right now you can't sleep on them. I mean, simple as that. I personally don't think you can sleep on any SEC program right now.
No,
it is pretty It's literally the coolest thing. It's actually the coolest thing in all of NCAA gymnastics. I don't think there's a single team right now that you can sleep on because everybody just,
you can have a day. Any given day, you go lights out and take down a team, which honestly, I think you want upsets. Upsets are a part of a healthy sport organization. If the top ranked team always went in and won, guess what's not exciting? Watching that match, you're like, there's never upsets. This sucks. Like having upsets is a really big part of an exciting sport organization. I think college women's gymnastics has figured it out. I sat through their coaches association meeting just for the first time, and like they've got their directives, their priorities on parity and increasing the size and visibility of the sport are like their two pillars. And as you go down some weird spirals and tangents where someone's got an initiative that they really feel passionate about, they're very good to bring it back to like, hold on. How does this help us? Does this help increase the visibility, increase like our sport, and does this help parity? And if not, we're going to table this discussion for the committees, and they keep the high level discussions and for in the room when everyone's there, only kind of the big brainstorming. So I thought that they're incredibly organized. They're very thoughtful, and you can see that it's working. Women's gymnastics is increasing visibility, increasing television coverage. Stands are getting packed. It's pretty awesome.
Every single Friday.
I'm proud to be a part of it. So proud.
Oh, Justin, we're proud that you're being part of it. I was going to ask, what did that meeting feel like? I've never sat in a meeting with like the big dogs like that, but I bet, is it intimidating, or is it like, welcome, come have a seat?
My mission, I'm the first one to speak up almost in all situations. It's been something I've had to learn very much so as a coach in general. I think that your athlete does more learning the less that the coach speaks. You want to be attentive, you want to be there, but like you need to allow them to sort their own stuff out. Mm-hmm. Give them a solid, refined, singular correction, and then let them sort it out. Let them troubleshoot. Always being in their ear, like that was a better one, and this and like that, and like 19 other corrections. Go back and make those fixes, and they're just like, okay, I got too much. So I'm still a very big talker, but I've learned to try to take more of a backseat. But certainly when walking into a room of a brand new industry, if you will, with all new people. So my mission was to shut my mouth and listen and learn for that. I told Ashley that. I was like, I got one big mission. It's to sit in this meeting and not say a damn thing.
I'm sure she said, okay.
She's like, that's a fair approach for this first one. And I was like, yeah. Now she's like, you need to get a part of a committee. And I absolutely do. And I'm excited to do that. But I needed to understand the lay of the land. I needed to understand the directives and the pillars and what drives them and really what are their anchors and what really, what's the thing they're unwilling to move on and what's the thing that they're driving towards or trying to move towards. And I could have, spoken up and just said some ridiculous stuff. And I'm glad I didn't, because I made a commitment to just shut my mouth. So next year might weigh in on something, but I don't know. We'll see if it's the right time.
I mean, that is growth. And you know what? This is a podcast that maybe we're all about growth here on the podcast with Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan. We're all about that self-growth. So good job, Justin. I'm very proud of you. One of our pillars
of our program. Yeah.
Is it?
On the wall, gigantic banner on the wall says growth. Yeah.
What are the pillars of Alabama gymnastics?
Excellence, growth, family, and tradition are the ones down there on the main wall. There's some other subtle ones that kind of come in different ways, but those are the big ones.
I really like family. I didn't really get it at first, and then
it kind of annoys people.
I mean,
it's our family. Every program on every recruiting trip will tell you, this is our family. This is your family away from your family.
100%.
Everyone does that. And they're not wrong, right? They're not wrong, but our family is our specific twist. And family looks very specific, and we've asked our team to define it. And yes, when a class graduates and another class comes in, that will look different and we'll continue to define. But in general, we're still seeking on kind of, the family is something that's unconditionally supportive, but also challenges you to become greatest, your best, I should say. And so it's that support, but not enabling. It's challenging to become excellent, support when you need it, but then also support when maybe you don't want to hear it. And, like that's, usually can only count on family to kind of give you the cold, hard truth. And that's something that kind of grows and ebbs and flows with the different people on the teams. But that's something that we continually push and have them define. Because in the end, like your team culture is going to be something that you're swimming in it. So So don't mess it up, if you will. You get where I'm going,
Don't
So
screw it
nurture it.
up.
Keep it clean. We're all swimming in this team culture pool together, so to speak. So
I mean, I feel like every team, mind you, I mean, every team is different. I get that. But it's like a relationship. Like you have to nurture, you have to support, you have to be there, even when you don't want to be, but you know that someone needs you. I mean, it can be very challenging, especially I've noticed for like women's gymnastics because it's so individualized depending on what gym you come from. I know for me, it was super individualized. And then I came to college and I was like, oh my gosh, I have 15 teammates now. This is the best thing ever. But it was also super hard because I am a very selfish athlete I'm not an athlete anymore. I was very selfish in what I did. And like, that's my beam. Like, excuse me, get off. Well, there's 5 other ones. And I was like, well, this one's mine. So there were definitely some tough learning curves that I went through,
Yeah.
It's fine. We made it out alive. But I was going to ask, what is your definition of family?
I just kind of went through it.
Yeah.
I already knew you were going to, so I kind of went into it.
Wow. You're so great.
Well, it's less important what I think it is and more important to what the current team. I think that's the one word that the team owns. Like we're as coaches, we're going to define what excellence looks like and how we get there and, use a growth pathway to meet you at where you're at, but constantly seeking excellence and be there to challenge you in those moments to try to achieve that. Going from good to great is one of the hardest 2 to 3% growth, ranges that you could possibly do because good feels great, but it's not, right? And so you tend to get stuck there. And that is what a coach is there to do. I am not there at the team house to tell you how to ask your roommate to put her dishes away. That's not what I'm here for. Now we can manage the family, so to speak, in our gym and in our locker room space, or at least we try by kind of like setting some non-negotiables and things we don't talk about, and whether it's lineups for that weekend or whatever. But in the end, the vast majority of your time spent with your teammates is not in the gym. If you're their roommates, right? If you're roommates or if you're, hanging out socially as teams frequently do. So that's their space. We challenge them to kind of define what family really looks like in those spaces.
Wow. That's awesome. That's very cool. You make me want to go back and maybe get a 5th year and maybe I'd go to Alabama and, maybe you could teach me a full out because I don't know how to do that.
I probably could, depending on your threshold for embracing your uncomfortable skill sets.
No, thanks. No, that's
you got to get comfortable in the uncomfy. That's a big piece.
Justin, I hear you. Like I hear you loud and clear when you say things like that. But for those listening, Justin Spring, can I say you single-handedly
maybe
taught Gabby Gladio maybe not single-handedly, but Justin played a major part in teaching Gabby Gladio a full out, which is 2 flips with a twist at the end, when she did a full in, which is 2 flips with a twist in the right when you take off. Very, very difficult to do. As someone who did a full in, I can't imagine. I couldn't even do a double. And people were like, how do you not know how to do that? I used to have video of me landing on my head in the pit because I would just be like, ah! And I would freak out. And it wasn't for me.
Gabby's a freaking pogo stick. She's so bouncy. She's unreal. We just had sprints. And of course, he was checking the miles per hour speed on our sprint testing today. And he was like, got to guess who's number 1? I'm like, it's Gabby. I don't need to guess that, she's just a gazelle. Her ability to explode, her recoils. If you ever caught one of her Rudy split jumps, so her last pass on floor, you're like, Rudy,
it's huge.
Jump. Oh my God. What? The camera guy has probably lost her out of frame multiple times. And so it was, so she could do so much gymnastics that she's not doing in college, but really what, a large part of what I brought was just actually it in a playful way, challenging them to kind of put their foot in the uncomfortable deep end of their skill set and their talent and their gymnastics. And a lot of that was trampoline work. And a lot of that was tumble track work. We had women on our team, we had athletes on our team that did lay double fulls is one of their pass, or a double full is their floor pass, but couldn't do a front brandy or a full or a Rudy. And I'm like, no. You have to be able to do the steps along the way. There's a spotting issue. There's a, like if you're precision honed in on this razor sharp threshold of like, I do that skill and that skill only. When you're a little bit off, or it's a different floor, it's different lighting, and it feels a little bit different, you can't just bail and do a Rudy because you don't do Rudies, right? I only do double fulls, and a full is like essentially the spot, out of a back 1.5. So it's so important to be able to do all these skills. That's actually in itself what reduces the amount of fear in playing in gymnastics. And so that's a big piece, is learning to play gymnastics again is something that is a core part of our gymnastics. This fierce joy, kind of like play. We want to walk into meets fiercely competitive, but being able to play in some of the scariest parts of gymnastics so that they're not scary anymore. And so I had Gabby doing double layouts and then spotting the tramp going into her second layout, and then kind of taught her to cruise back and fall on her back and do a half out. But she hated all of this, but it was the summer and it was like an entire workout. So we got the time to have fun with that. And she got a teammate over there that did it too. And next thing you know, she was doing double layout, full out. So she actually learned a double layout, full out, and then tucked it for the floor. Because I think a double layout takeoff is the perfect hips up, right? Tall takeoff for any good double flipping skill. When I was working triple doubles, I would always go back to double layouts to kind of redefine my set.
You did triple doubles?
I was the second person in the world to ever compete at triple double in 2005.
Wow.
Ri Jong Song in the Olympics in 2004. I did it next World Championships.
So a triple double is 2 flips, obviously, 2 flips, 2 twists in the first, 1 in the last, or is it just kind of like continuously you're doing 3 twists and 2 flips?
Yeah, you kind of get you get a feel for it. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Double double is the easiest cruise, like full. Triple double, because
really
I've done double double for so long now. It is.
No, it's not.
Come visit me in Tuscaloosa, girl. We're going to teach you double double on tumble track. Come on now.
My Achilles would both
I still got it. What are you, 28
Literally,
years young?
I'm 31.
Now? Oh,
I'm 31.
So young. You've just got so much life ahead of you.
Oh my gosh. But I think it's funny that you said Gabby is like a pogo stick. Never in my entire gymnastics career.
You?
No.
Okay.
And you're like, she's got so much spring. I'm sitting over here like, what's that like?
Yeah.
I always want to know when these athletes.
So I connect with her gymnastics very easily.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
like yeah.
It's like Jameson. She is just
same cut from the same cloth. Yeah. We're all like half helium. Like, it's like half human, half helium.
I am not like that. So we are not the same in any way, shape, or form. But
I think you did just fine.
I think I managed. I managed. Well, what would you say is your favorite part about being an Alabama assistant coach?
I get to focus on the things that I think is the most important part about collegiate coaching, which is the development of the human being. They've got the gymnastics, and we do 4 hours a day of that work. But for me, because there's only 4 events, we have time to dedicate to things outside of gymnastics. From team culture, we did an amazing team retreat, which I'm kind of spearhead. I'm a part of. Like, I'm constantly reading books like this, which is like why motivating people doesn't work and what does. I think that we have coaches in young people's lives are the last line of help to help them figure it out. When you've left your parents and you're in college and you're starting on pathway of this is my own life and I get all the decision, the autonomy to finally make my own choices and be what I want to be and do what I want to do. You got a college coach that's kind of standing they're in the red zone or goal line defense, like just allowing them to make these decisions, but hopefully focusing on all the right things to develop a great human being that's ready to graduate and not be scared out of their minds to take on the real world. And that's a burden I think we all take very seriously in this program. And athletics is the perfect pressure cooker to teach these lessons. Because it is a pressure cooker. College gymnastics, the exposure, how much these women are being put on a spotlight, judged, literally evaluated, literally ripping people apart, whether it's the judge's fault, but like they're constantly being picked apart. And then you go and you're getting grades all along, you're trying to excel in this major. And so it is a pressure cooker of expectation and constantly feeling like you can't do it all. And I think that is a major problem with a lot of people that are starting off in their life after college is you don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know how to take it on. I can't even imagine what's the process for getting there. And so we get to like help them and prepare them for that. And I love that. I love that so much. So we run them through a lot of meetings. We run them through a lot of exercises and workshops. And does that translate to being a healthier, happier human that walks into our gym and we can do better gymnastics? Yes, it does. But it also does the bigger picture of honestly what higher athletics was supposed to do back to when it was all intramural, back like 60 years ago before NIL and television contracts and all this garbage got associated with it. Like it was an extension of the higher education system. That's all it was. It was like pickup basketball games. You play your rival school and it was a chance to be a part of something bigger than just your frat house or your English class. Like you just joined this team in this club. And now it's these monster entities that fly across the country and compete against the best teams in the country. And it's really fun and exciting. It's put on a platform, which is cool, but that's added a lot of additional pressures and expectation that I think is really hard to handle for young humans from 18 to 23 years old.
For sure. For sure. I mean, the real world, it comes at you quick.
It does.
And it's hard. Life is hard.
It is. And it's a lot of unknown, which I think is different than what women's gymnastics are used to. I don't want to stereotype all club upbringings, but I would argue that most elites didn't go to the gym and had a large portion of say what was going to be done today for their workout and how they were going to do it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I did have a lot of say.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I had a ton of say in my training. I had a ton of say in what I was going to do throughout the day. And
maybe that's
actually
why you thrived and excelled and got so many trophies in the NCAA.
Oh my gosh. But I will say, I think that is why when I got to college, I wasn't necessarily like outspoken, but I would speak up and be like, I'm really sore today. Me doing a floor routine ain't gonna happen. Like
get ownership in your gymnastics.
Yes. And
many of our athletes have not been given the right to have an opinion through some portion of their club training. And so teaching them to advocate for themselves, to speak up, and that speaking up and kind of having investment and some ownership in your process isn't fighting with me as a coach.
Right.
We're working together because in the end, we want the same thing. We want you to be the best you can be and not broken. Ever. Ideally, granted it's gymnastics, so things are going to happen, but we both want that very much so. And it's hard for some of them.
Oh, I can vouch for half my team at one point where nobody spoke up because you come from a culture of, well, whatever the coach says goes. Yes, and then you have me over there. That's like
it's faster and then problems get bigger. And
oh yeah. Yeah, if you can believe it, I was actually very outspoken with my coaches, specifically Adrian and Robs, that were my coaches for my first 3 years. Yeah, if Bridget wasn't feeling it that day, I wasn't feeling it that day, and that was that. But I will say that's a very cool thing to hear, and you see it in your program. I mean, the Alabama program right now, the culture from an outsider perspective, because that's what I am, looks the best it's ever looked. And I've been looking at the Alabama program now for years. I mean, I think I did the math. I was like, wow, I'm in my 7th season of working for ESPN. That's a really long time. Okay, cool. But it's been amazing. The coolest thing has been seeing the growth from individual programs, yes, but just as a whole. You're starting to see the play gymnastics mentality.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It's very, awesome. Very cool to see that and to just get excited about the future. Which leads me to my last question. Oh, I didn't know we had set questions. Bring it on. They normally come to me as we're talking, and then I'm like, oh, that's a good question.
My favorite color is crimson. Just is that it? Was that not it?
No. Wow. Oh, okay. Who would have thought? Oh my God. Is your favorite animal an elephant?
It is.
That was a little delayed, but okay. I won't tell Ashley that your favorite animal is not. Are you getting? Wow.
Yeah, we have these
Ladies and
everywhere around
gentlemen.
here.
I mean, that is,
Let's put it back on the coffee table here.
yeah, it looks like
Anyway,
it
on to the
belongs.
last question. Yeah. What?
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. What is your goal? Like as an individual, you, Justin Spring, what is your goal this year, this season, this year? Go.
I want to see our athletes be the best version of themselves in the most intense moments. And to do that, you have to be adaptable, confident, grounded, because like most NCAA programs, we were hitting our routines last year, and but did they all show up at the same time, the same place in the most important moments, right? And so that's the gymnastics coach in me, and so, but if we can get that to happen, for me, that's kind of the outcome that shows the athletes have learned how to use all the tools that we've talked about and given them, from processing emotions, good and bad in the most stressful environments, and still getting the outcome that you want. And that sounds like a recipe for success at a gymnastics meet, in a business meeting, at a public speaking event, or anywhere you could pretty much think of. So for me, that's what it is being able to access the tools to kind of dial in, focus, and kind of produce your best work on command, despite the environmental circumstances that change venue to venue, place to place. So.
Wow. I like it. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, where are you guys at this weekend?
We go to Auburn.
Auburn.
And I was just reenacting Gymnasties. We were like having fun. Ashley was like, so there are these people called the Gymnasties, and they're in the front row. And someone
you would have been a gymnasty.
I was today. And that's kind of why I'm like a little gross right now from practice. I was ruining it was so fun because they like mimic the girls' floor routines.
Oh, yeah.
I have been waiting for a long time to playfully mock some of our girls' dance moves. I think their routines are beautiful. Their choreography is amazing, but the
truth
juvenile
comes out
delinquent in my brain that I'm still a big kid. So I got to do that today with absolute intention by request of my head coach with like 6 others. And it was hilarious. We had a lot. We had a lot of fun.
Day of your life,
we had a lot of fun doing it. I cannot do the split though anymore. That's certainly, I almost ripped my pants. Ella Burgess, her ending pose is this middle split arm up. And I was like, oh God, I can't do this anymore. Which made it more funny, which was great. And that's probably, the gymnastics probably can't do splits. Although, prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong.
As I'd say, you know what? I hope they all listen to this podcast and then they will get in the gym and do some work.
I respect the culture. It's fun. I get it.
That is going to be an electric meet. Have you ever competed at Auburn? Like,
no,
not you personally, but
I've heard the banter from last year to because
it's awesome.
That's what I hear.
I think you'll be the one that's like, I would say you're going to be looking around like, this is awesome. It is a very electric arena to compete in.
It's like, that's what everyone says. It's like pretty condensed. Everyone's like right there in your face.
Oh yeah. Everyone's pretty close. The student section gets there very early, so expect them to get there early. They sure do.
Can't wait.
And yeah, that's going to be great. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I don't have you guys anymore this season. I'm so sad. I'm so sorry. They didn't put you on my schedule. Hate to hear it, but
that's not your fault.
Wow. Thank you. You're so right. Because I don't.
It's not intentional. It's not personal.
That's right. It is not personal. But what is personal is just how great you are. And I thank you so much for coming on the pod. And yeah, you're just killing it.
Well, apparently in my office building, when you sit quietly enough and the lights just automatic. That's how we're fancy here. We got automatic lights at Alabama.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really setting the mood. Well, I think that might be our cue, but Justin, thank you.
I did not set a timer to be. Sorry, Bridget. I got to go, I guess.
Justin has to go. The lights are off. He needs to go see his family. He does have 3 children and a wife. But again, thank you so much. You're great. I wish you the best of luck the rest of season. And he's back. And yeah, I just hope you guys continue to crush it. And I'm excited. I'm super pumped.
Can we end with a Roll Tide?
Have a great night. Okay.
Ready, and 3, 2, 1. Roll Tide. Bye, Bridget.
Bye.
Thanks for having me on.
That wraps up today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed and look forward to hearing from my amazing guests that I have lined up, because every Wednesday we will be dropping new episodes on Flipping Out with Bridget Sloan. I am your host, Bridget Sloan. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Don't forget to be awesome, and let's make some good life choices today. Bye, guys.